fully engaged in the game yet, and all of a sudden the other team goes on a 7-0 run. Like these things really matter. And one other point I wanted to make was just on the Gordon Jokic power forward center thing. You know, we see a lot of 5 out. We see a lot of redundancy between the 3 and the 4 in terms of skill sets and positional whatever. It's more homogenous, I feel like, roster construction than it was, let's say, 10, 15 years ago, right? It's a lot of 3-and-D guys play 4, right? If they're not the primary ball handler or the primary wing. And you brought up the perfect pairing. I do want to say that the Milwaukee Bucks several years ago getting Brook Lopez was massive. And it's almost inverse a little bit to Jokic and Gordon, but he provided the rim protection. Giannis, of course, does that as well, but he provided the rim protection defensively, plus he provided the spacing, plus he provides a pick-and-roll partner at times, and it's like this perfect pairing. And obviously, they won a championship in 2021 with that. The Giannis Lopez thing is important. The other thing I just wanted to note, I just think, the adjustment sometimes from coaches, and this will lead us in the next series, the adjustment sometimes from coaches, they're small things, sometimes they're big things. Love Malone just at times yesterday, just believing in the bench. I thought they were awesome yesterday.
They were great.
And then, going to Friday night, again yesterday, Rick Carlisle, there's all this talk after game 2 of the Knicks-Pacers series. Oh, he should have closed with McConnell. He should have closed with McConnell. Nembhard, he's having trouble guarding Jalen. And he comes out and he puts Aaron Nesmith on him. It's like, oh, okay. Yeah, you just, why didn't anybody else think of that? Right. And Aaron Nesmith defensively was awesome in games 3 and 4 in Indy. I mean, just awesome. And the numbers back that up. Jalen's shooting stats with him as the primary defender. He was great, and he set the tone. The big takeaway from yesterday for me, and we talked about this a bunch on the broadcast, and unfortunately we had about almost 2 full quarters to talk about this because it was such a blowout,
right.
Is just the incredible discrepancy right now in energy between these two teams. And by energy, sometimes I'm talking about negative energy and positive energy. I'm not talking about this. I'm not talking about body language. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the Pacers, pressure, full court, sometimes 5-man presses, not just the primary ball handler. Like they had an 8-second violation yesterday. And then on offense, trying to turn everything into a track meet. And it was like a rush from the opening tip yesterday. Starters did it for Indy. TJ McConnell comes off the bench. Within 3 or 4 minutes, it's like, whoosh, it's a 20-point game, right? It was just a surge of energy from the Pacers. And look, I think the OG thing, New York has like done incredible stuff with this roster, with this group, with having to be overtaxed physically, sometimes be overtaxed in roles. Guys being asked to do more than they've ever done in their career. And OG's availability to me is the difference in this series. And I don't mean 2-2. I mean going forward. Like, you watched that game yesterday. They've got to turn around. They're going to play tomorrow in the Garden. And they're going to get a lift for sure from that home crowd. But there is a concern right now with the physical toll that all of these injuries, all of these minutes, a bunch of close games. Obviously, yesterday was not, but 8 of their first 9 were clutch games. Like, there's a concern, I think, with the energy level of the New York Knicks.
Well, it's obvious, and you're sitting there, and it's always easier even to see it sitting there courtside. I'm watching that game. I'm seeing the same thing. That looked like a gassed team. Everything was a challenge for them. All movement, getting space, getting back to guard their pace. The number of closeouts and then containments you have to have when you play the Pacers, like that is exhausting. You have to run back first of all to guard against the advanced pass. So first of all, you might have just had a terrible possession and you got bad spacing on it. So now you got weird spacing getting back. You run back, you stop the advanced pass. And then they just start going with these quick hitters, one after another after another. Every guy that touches the ball immediately tries to get downhill on you. And so you've got to, and they're good shooters. So you're full commit to get out to the line, but now they're attacking you off the dribble. So now you got to go from full sprint out down into a stance, slide with them to guard them. There's another kick out. Now you've got to be in help position on the next dribble drive. And then probably you're going to have that one last hard closeout at a 3-pointer or something. That what I just described as one possession. That's tiring, what I just described. If that were me in that position doing all 4 of those things on one possession, that's tiring. To do that every trip, the entire time, and also you're digging from behind like the whole game. It's a little bit easier when the game is like tied or it's 4 either way. It's just a different energy and adrenaline there. When it's just things snowballing against you and you can't do anything offensively, when you're that bad offensively, it just puts you even worse and more compromised positions defensively. They're just short on bodies, man. They're short on energy. If they somehow come back, JJ, and win game 5, and they have, it's going to be let's say a close game. They have enough energy to get through that. The best thing that could have happened to them was the fact that you had guys play like in the 20s in minutes in this game, honestly, because they needed a break from somewhere. And it turns out it could have come in the form of a blowout. But it just looks like all of this stuff, the cumulative effect of all of these injuries, the minutes piling up, the style of play for some of these guys, it looks like right now it has caught up to them. And so we're all sitting here wondering, what is the answer going to be to that?